This is Carrie Johnson with the Iowa Department of Management, and this is part 2 of a webinar series to talk about how to work within the Department of Management's valuation system. This is particular to county auditors and their staff as they submit valuations into the property tax system. Part 1 gave you kind of an overview of what the system looks like and how to access it. Part 2 is going to talk about working with taxing districts themselves. So working with the smallest unit basically that we work with within the system, the taxing district. So as a county, you may find the need to add or delete taxing districts. And when we add taxing districts, you're going to be typing in the name of the taxing districts. And we do ask that you use uniform naming conventions when you add taxing districts to the system. So you would use city after the name of a city. You would use city ag after the city's name if it was a city ag district. You would use city exempt after the city's name if the value is exempt from city taxation. You would use SCH after the name of a school, TWP after the name of a township, and you would use the backslash to separate the various names. For TIF taxing districts, we do ask that you use the name of the TIF area followed by TIF base or TIF increment at the end of the taxing district name based on whether or not it's a base district or an increment district that you're creating. And I have included within your instruction document examples to describe how these might look. So when you go to add a taxing district, please take a double look at those instructions and familiarize yourself with the naming convention. The online system does some work for you. If you are going to be creating TIF base and increment districts. Online system will associate the levy authorities found with the selected parent taxing district when you create a TIF base taxing district. When the TIF increment is created, the system associates those base district levy authorities that are authorized to levy for debt service. So all I'm telling you here is that if you do create a TIF base and increment district, the system's going to do some of the work for you as far as setting up the levy authorities for those districts. And I do have a recorded module that talks specifically about creating TIF districts and administering TIF in the valuation system. So if you find that that's what you need the most information on, then you would want to review those webinars. If you're creating a city exempt district, which is less frequently created, obviously, but it's a situation with, typically with an annexation. Annexation occurs, then the city is phasing in the property value to the city rate. So a portion of value is reported in a regular city taxing district, and a portion of value is reported in a special city exempt district that's exempt from the city tax base. So this is for sort of really particular situations. It's not used all that often, but if you have a city exempt district, the system's going to kind of walk you through what that might look like, and it will do some of the work again of associating levy authorities. So just to give you a look at the tax district screen, if you select tax districts on the left-hand navigation, it's going to display for you all of your taxing districts on the main part of the screen. It will display the number, the name, of course, your county, property type, whether it's rural or urban, TIF yes or no, and then what actions can be taken against that tax district. If you need to search for a particular tax district, like you need to address tax district 010123, you can search in that box. You can pull up, say, all of your just rural districts, all of your TIF districts. So you can use these boxes to filter and search for what you need. Under the action screens, you can edit a tax district, you can manage its associations, and you can delete a tax district. So those are the various options that you can do with a tax district. So let's talk about editing tax districts. Again, if you know that you need to work with a particular tax district, say you need to change the name of a tax district because you had a school district reorganization and the school name changed, you can search for the tax district by typing in the number. Remember, we are inserting a 0 in the third column, in the third placeholder. to make it a 6-digit number. So you can search there, you can pull up any particular tax district you need to work with, and then you go over to the option Edit Tax District. What it's going to show for you is, of course, all the information regarding that tax district. It's going to have the name up here. It's going to report the value for you, all the associated levy authorities, etc. So if you need to, say, change the name of a tax district and edit it, you can go into that field and just simply type in your changes as needed, alter that name a little bit, and then do a save. Within the tax district field, if you have, say, a very small valuation change that needs to be modified and you're not going through the process of uploading a whole new file, say it's a very limited, one tax district change, you can't edit valuation within a particular tax district by editing the tax district and going into the cell 100% or taxable that you need to modify and doing a save. So you can edit a tax district. You can also manage its associations. Well, what do we mean by that? Basically, we mean managing the levy authorities that are associated with that tax district or able to tax in that tax district. And the reason why you'd manage associations, the primary reason is really to alter maybe a school district association. So say you have a school district that's reorganized and one of the previous school district levy authority codes is going away. This is where you would come to swap out one school for another. Or if you have a township situation where we added a township split and you need to associate a particular split levy authority with a tax district that was previously just a general township district, then you'd come here and this is where you'd swap out that levy authority association. So you'd pull up the tax district that you need to work with, and under Actions, you'd select Manage TDLA Associations. In this box here, you can search and add. So essentially, if you know, hey, I need to pull up a different school, you could type it in that box, and then it's going to pull it up for you. Basically, what this screen shows you is all of the existing levy authorities that are taxing in that taxing district. And then under Action, you have Unassigned. So if you have somebody you need to swap out, you unassign what needs to go, and then you'll search and add, and then assign what needs to be added. So in this case, we're saying, okay, well, we need to add the Davis County School. That's who needs to be taxing in this taxing district. So you type in the name, it's going to search for you, and then when you find the applicable levy authority, you select the plus to add. And so then we added the Davis County School District. Well, obviously, we can see we've still got a school district assigned. So the old school district we need to unassign. And it's going to say, are you sure you want to unassign? Yes. And so then that's the way you swap out a levy authority within the system. You can also delete a tax district if need be. So say you had a school reorganization and you were able to combine all the parcels of 2 tax districts into one because you no longer needed to separate them for 2 different schools. You can delete a tax district. You can see the little garbage can icon is where you would delete. But you need to do a little bit of work first. It's not going to let you delete a tax district that has levy authorities associated with it, right? So if there's levy authorities associated with a tax district, it doesn't want those levy authorities to just be hanging out there. It needs to be unassociated. So you would go to Manage TDLA Associations just like we were. You would go in, pull up all those levy authorities that are associated with that taxing district you want to delete. You just click through and unassign all those levy authorities and save. It's going to ask, are you sure? Yes. So basically you just click through, unassign all of them. And then if you go back and delete, it's going to say, are you sure you want to delete? It's going to also tell you can't reuse that, that tax district number, just to be aware of that. If you, as a side note, if you delete a base tax district, tax increment financing district that's a base district, it's going to also delete the associated increment district when you do that. So then it's going to tell you you have successfully deleted that tax district. You, of course, can add a tax district. And as I mentioned, if you add certain kinds of tax districts, then it does some of the work for you. If you add just a regular tax district for whatever reason, for say a township split or anything of that nature, you're going to have to do the work of assigning levy authorities to that district. So to add a tax district, you go over to tax districts on the left-hand navigation and you select the button that's add tax district. And we'll go through a quick example with city exempt. Again, this is probably not used as much, but just to show you what that would look like and how that might work. So you'd select next, and it's going to populate for you the next available tax district number in your system. So numerically, what's available next. You can edit this field, but I do strongly advise you to use the next available tax district number and keep your numbers sequential so you don't have large blocks of unused numbers where you're skipping over numbers or you're not keeping them in order. That just creates more confusion. So you would, unless there's some compelling reason why not, you would use the number that's populated, the next available taxing district number. You type in your tax district name. Again, use those uniform naming conventions. In this situation, we're going to say example city exempt, example school. And in this case, it's an urban tax district. And we said it's a city exempt district, and we select the parent district. So what tax district is this value going into when it's annexed into the city? So you'd select the applicable tax district from your list. It's not a TIF related example. And so then this just provides you with the overview of the information. So you'd want to take a look at that, and if everything looks good, then you would create. If not, then you'd cancel and restart. So the TIF district example, TIF taxing district base and increment pair process, is covered more in detail in the segment of the webinars that talk specifically about TIF administration. You would want to review that to get a good handle on exactly what's needed to create a TIF tax district base and increment pair in the system. But for non-TIF, non-city exempt districts, if you create the taxing district, then the appropriate levy authorities must be associated manually. The system is not going to know what levy authorities need to tax in this taxing district because there was no parent selected or anything like that that it can draw from. So for a regular taxing district, one that you would create for any number of reasons, probably the most common example I see is if somebody's newly splitting a township for fire protection. So they need to add some new taxing district for that purpose. So you would do add tax district, and it's going to have you go into the system, and it's going to again populate for you the next available taxing district number. Tax district name, again, follow those uniform naming conventions. In this case, we're just going test city / new school. And you're going to, in this case, select property type urban. And next, in this example, it's not city ag and it's not city exempt. So you just do next. TIF related, this is non-TIF related. So you do next. Pretty simple to create it. It's just going to say, okay, well, this is what it looks like. Take a quick look and then create. And then it's going to give you a summary of, this tax district was created. Levy authorities are not added, so please associate them on the next screen. So you do finish, and it's going to prompt you to then do the required associations for that tax district. So you created this tax district. What's the city, what's the school, what's the county, etc., that need to be taxing in this new tax district? These, the system's going to prompt for you those basic required associations. You may have additional associations other than just simply those. Keep that in mind. So if you have, if you're a particular county that has a county hospital, not every county has a county hospital. It's not a required association, but if you have a county hospital, obviously they're going to be taxing in this taxing district. Or there might be various special districts that need to be added to that particular tax district. So just kind of keep that in mind. It's going to prompt you for the absolute required associations that it knows you must have, but it will not know if you have additional associations that need to be made for special levy authorities, for example. So you type in the search button and say this is Wapello County. So we know that you're going to need Wapello County Ag Extension, Wapello County Assessor. So you just do a search to pull up those different associations and do a plus to add them. If you forget one of the required levy authority associations, like a city or township, if it's rural, a school, etc., you'll get an error when you run your errors check, and you won't be able to file your valuations. So just keep that in mind. If you aren't sure that you got them all in there, you can always go run an errors check and it will flag that for you. The errors message will tell you which tax district has the error, so you can go back to it, pull up that tax district, and then go to manage associations for that tax district and correct the error, go back and add that whatever, you forgot, the community college, for instance. So again, if we go back here, it's saying, hey, you forgot the community college. So go ahead and do a search for the community college and add it. So that's just a quick primer on working with taxing districts within the valuation system. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. Thank you.